on any given day which stage would be coming through and approximately what time, because they were regular routes, just like airlines and bus routes today.
Okay, so it wasn't just the one from Westport. There were like, so there'd
be like two coming out from
directions.
Westport, going, one to Lawrence, one to Santa Fe.
And then there was the people going back.
And then people coming back too.
Okay.
So Westport would leave in the morning. First stop would be the Shawnee Mission, about where the Indian Mission is, and then get here about lunchtime, head out to Lawrence, and then the Lawrence one is going to leave, coming back, and get here about dinner time.
Oh, okay.
Or what we would call dinner time. They probably did dinners at noon, and the evening meal is supper.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but she'd know about the approximate time. The coaches would usually show up about the same time, but she'd never know how many people were going to get off. Because the coach could pull up and on average probably 9 people inside, because those 2 benches that we have today, they would have been like that, but probably another bench in the middle.
Oh, okay.
So 9 people on average, but as long as the coach companies can keep selling tickets, that's what they're going to do. So if it means that you're sitting on the floor, or you're taking turns sitting on someone's lap, or you're sitting on top in and amongst the luggage, you're going to find yourself crammed in. If they can keep selling you a ticket. So the coach could pull up and there'd be, 10 people or 15 people, 20 people even on the coach. She'd never know. So she'd probably make things that if a lot of people come off, you can put more water in those beans and stretch them out. If you don't get a lot of people, then you put the beans on the back burner, and beans will, last pretty good for a couple days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of things like that. What I'm doing today is, because it's Sunday and I've kind of neglected some chores, I was doing some cleaning earlier, and this time of year our garden is starting to explode, so we have a surplus of okra. We don't want to let it go to waste. You can only make so much gumbo and soup, but we do know that in the wintertime when we don't have those fresh vegetables, we wish we had something. So what I've done is cut the okra up, and then I'm going to string it up and let it dry, so that in the wintertime we can cut some down and add it to...
just rehydrate it.
Right, just rehydrate it, add it to a soup or a gumbo, like that.
Very cool.
Is it this cool down here all the time?
We have some modern help.
Oh, okay.
So
I was going to say, this is awesome. I would want to work down here.
Yep. We're trying to keep, the house is 150 years old.
So you're trying to keep it...
Trying to keep it constant temperature. So there's modern help in when it's hot out and when it's cold out.
Okay.
Mrs. Mahaffie would have had, the only source of heat down here is the stove. That's not her original stove. We don't have that, unfortunately. But it was made in Leavenworth in 1866. So
this particular one? Oh, cool.
Yeah. Leavenworth in the mid to late 1800s was really a prime source for manufacturing. So stoves were a lot of what they were manufacturing, and because I think that the city is built on a source of coal. Oh. So a Leavenworth stove might have been something Mrs. Mahaffie had. We don't have records of that, but hers, this one is a 4-hole stove. She might have had a 6-hole stove. I don't think during her time that they were coming that much bigger. Later on in the century, they did come bigger than that. Hers was probably fairly small, considering how many people that she was serving. I don't have it going today. Like I said, I'm doing chores, but if I needed to, this is where you put your wood in. And then if it gets hot, that's why you're always going to use the... Yeah. In fact, you have to be able to...
Because you just have to keep it going, and you want to keep the coals going at least.
Right, keep the coals going, and so if I had a pot and I was trying to get it to boil, or a skillet, and I'm frying something, I want to get a little bit closer to the heat, I can lift that cover up and put the pot a little bit further down in there. And that gets important when you're trying to do multiple things, because this is your only source of heat right in there.
Now, where do you bake?
This is your oven.
Oh, okay.
Right back here. So you've got one damper that's either going to direct the heat to the back or to the top where you're frying or boiling. So if you're trying to do both, that's another reason why, if you're baking and you're directing the heat to the back, you might put your pot down a little bit closer to the flames. And if